Welcome to Python training video 2, and what we're going to be looking at in this video is we're going to be having a look at numbers, okay, something called integers and floating points, and then we're going to create a quick program about what is your name, your age and your height to collect that data and then print it out or to display it or output it. Okay, so let's go into Python and talk about numbers. Okay, there are two types of main types of numbers, which are integers and floating points. Okay, now from your maths you might remember what a integer is. Okay, so let's just use Python shell to show you. So if I put in 3 plus 5, okay, is 8. Okay, those two numbers there are whole numbers, they are integers. Okay, and we'll think about that, just store that for later. If I go 4.0 plus 67.987, okay, it still calculates it, but we're actually the language is now recognizing floating points. Okay, so in terms of numbers, what sort of maths can we use? We can use plus, minus, multiplied and divided, and we can also use sort of brackets to help us with calculations. Okay, obviously if they don't have the speech marks, it won't treat it as text. Okay, so that's a bit of a really simple idea of numbers. So integers, okay, are whole numbers, and floating points, okay, that's just programming for decimal points. So 3.2 is a floating point. Okay, and when we're programming, we have to make sure that we code so that the program is expecting the correct input. So if I ask for height, okay, you're probably going to get, depending on what you work in, say it's in centimeters or inches or whatever, you might get 183.5, okay, which would be a floating point. So we code it slightly differently. Okay, so let's have a look at this programming. What is your name, your age and your height? Okay, now you're probably thinking, well, hang on, we've done something like this, haven't we? So let's go to recent files. Let's go and find this bit. So let's go and steal some of that, and let's then create a new file. Okay, let's paste that in there. Okay, what's your name? Okay, and we're just going to ask people what's their name. Okay, and then your name is, and we also want to say, was it your hang on, wrong one, your age and height. So name, age and height we want. Okay, so let's go back to here. So we'll put in, rather than first name, we'll put in name. We'll get rid of that. We don't want that. Name equals input, and then you'll say your name. Okay, and that's just to get some basics in. Now, remember last time we were talking about variables which store data. What else do we need? We need your age. So if we go age equals, we need one of those. We need an age variable and a height variable. Okay, height. Okay, we're going to need some of those. I personally, I like keeping things really tidy. So your name is, I'm going to put in your name is, and then your age is. Okay, and also let's put in your height is. Okay, I know we haven't programmed this fully,
but you get an idea of where we're going. So that's how I would start it. So we've stolen something there. We've from what we've not stolen. We've learnt that to ask someone's name, we do the same. Now let's go for let's use this bit of code here, because we want the age as well, don't we? So let's just tie that up. So we want input, what is your age? We want that, okay, and we also want one to say, what is your height? Because we want those to be asked, don't we? What is your height? Now, let's just run this and see what happens. Okay, so let's run this. It's always useful and interesting to see what happens as you run your code. So let's go and find that that place where we were holding around, put in the tracing video, and we'll call this 3 name, age and height. Okay, what's your name? Steve. What's your age? 45, 34. Okay, so it's worked, but we haven't told in these two bits of code that we're expecting a number. Okay, so we need to learn to program at that. Okay, and this is what we do. We need to start off. So age, we're going to ask is what is your age. Actually, we can do that in years. Okay, in years. So what's your age? 21, 13, whatever. And what you do is, because you're expecting a integer, you type in int, okay, and then we put a bracket, a parenthesis around that input, okay. Say you're expecting a number there, okay. And what we've got to do is then put a double parenthesis at the end of it to make that work. And that's just the way the language works, okay. So let's say it's the age. We're expecting a number. We want an input. What's your name in that year? And here, what is your height? Okay, in centimeters. Now, in years, well, obviously that's going to be a whole number, 12, 14, whatever. But this could be 183 or 122.5 centimeters. So this is going to be a float, isn't it? A floating point. So we don't put in int, we put in float. Open parentheses, input, what's your height, okay, and then put an extra one at the end because you've got two left parentheses there, okay. So that is how we add in numbers, okay. We add in numbers. We've got we've got an integer input, and here we've got a decimal point or a floating point input. Let's run that. Okay, what's your name? Bob. 34, 23. That's very short, isn't it? 120.67 centimeters. Okay. Did I put bib in? That's a bit silly. Anyways. Okay, so that all works. And if there are some errors coming up in red, don't worry. Just go back, have a look at your code, rewind the video, have a think, talk to your buddy about it, maybe ask your teacher about what's going on. Now, the final bit is we want to output your name and your name, which we've done already, your age, and your height is. Okay, so your age is, what do you think it would be? Well, it would be age, wouldn't it? And your height is height, because we're calling in the variables to use in that final output, that final line of code there. So your name is name, whatever's put in. Your age is the age variable, whatever age is put in, and your height is height. So let's run that again. Okay, what's your name? Donald. I'm 12. Height in centimeters, 183.76. Your name is Donald.
Your age is 12 and your height is 183.76. Okay, quick question for you. How would you get that into centimetres? Okay, how would you do that? How would you put centimetres in there? Have a think. What you do, you need to put another comma in there and then put in centimetres, like that. Okay, and there's also a bit of a gap there. Run it again. Yeah, okay. Run it again. What's your name? Mr. Carter. What's your age? Well, that's secret. Well, I'm what, 21? Height in centimetres. Well, my real height is 1.83. There we go. Your name is Mr. Carter. Your age, we can put a comma in there as well, obviously. And your age and your height is 183.5. So, screenshot this, okay? Put it in your programming diary. That's another entry with the date. The title would be, something like working with numbers, and then screenshot that little program to work out age, height as well. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the video. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.